He picked the most popular Hong Kong-made action picture at that time and asked a very blunt question.
A Hong Kong gangster who ruled the streets with an iron fist, a martial arts legend who changed cinema forever, and a friendship that defied the dark underworld of organized crime. For decades, whispers and rumors swirled around Bruce Lee's mysterious death in 1973. Did the Triads kill him? Was there a hit ordered from the shadows?
Because I had heard that Bruce Lee died from some sort of an allergic reaction to a drug or...
For decades, Bruce Lee has been regarded not only as a martial arts legend, but also as an enigmatic figure whose life and death continue to fascinate the world. Countless books, documentaries, and online discussions have attempted to capture the essence of this extraordinary man. Yet few sources provide insights as unique and revealing as those offered by Chan Wai-man. Chan, once the #2 leader of the infamous 14K Triad in Hong Kong, carries a perspective that bridges two worlds most people could never imagine intersecting: the shadowy realm of organized crime and the disciplined, highly publicized domain of martial arts. Now, after 50 years of silence, Chan speaks. His revelations are remarkable because they come not from a distant observer or a historian piecing together fragments, but from someone who lived side by side with Bruce Lee. Chan knew him personally. He trained with him, fought alongside him, and navigated the perilous streets of Hong Kong together. The connection they shared was forged through mutual respect for martial arts, an understanding of discipline, and recognition of strength, both physical and mental. The narrative of Bruce Lee's death has been clouded in mystery, speculation, and conspiracy theories for decades. Officially, the world was told that cerebral edema, a swelling of the brain, claimed his life at the age of 32. Yet the circumstances surrounding that tragic day, July 20th, 1973, were unusual, sparking immediate doubts. Bruce had been in perfect physical condition, a man at the peak of human performance, making the idea that a seemingly simple headache medication could end his life difficult for the public to accept. From that day forward, whispers began to circulate, some innocent, some sinister. Was Bruce Lee's death truly accidental, or was it the result of darker forces operating behind the glamorous facade of Hong Kong cinema? Among those closest to the speculation, Chan Wai-man remained largely silent. As a prominent figure within the 14K Triad, he was uniquely positioned to understand both the criminal underworld and the real risks that existed for someone like Bruce Lee. The Triads controlled vast swaths of Hong Kong, influencing the film industry, nightlife, and organized crime with an iron grip. In this context, rumors spread rapidly, claiming that Bruce Lee had been targeted for defying criminal interests, crossing powerful individuals, or simply existing as an unstoppable force who could not be contained. The Triad murder theory captured the imagination of the city and eventually the world, intertwining fear, fascination, and mythology around one of cinema's most legendary figures. But the truth, as Chan would finally reveal decades later, was far simpler, yet no less tragic. His testimony provides clarity and insight, separating fact from fiction, and allowing us to appreciate Bruce Lee not only as an immortalized icon, but as a human being, a man of unparalleled skill, dedication, and vulnerability. Through Chan's eyes, we witness the convergence of martial arts mastery, criminal influence, and human frailty, offering a perspective that few have had the opportunity to hear firsthand. In this narrative, we will explore not only the details of Bruce Lee's final days, the environment he lived in and the pressures he faced, but also the remarkable friendship he shared with Chan Wai-man. We will examine the formidable world of the 14K Triad, the influence it wielded over Hong Kong's entertainment industry, and the delicate balance between respect and fear that ultimately shielded Bruce from the dangers lurking in his city. By the end of this exploration, viewers will gain an understanding of the real forces at play, the human limitations that contributed to a legendary death, and the enduring legacy of two extraordinary men who left indelible marks on martial arts and cinema. The story of Bruce Lee is not merely one of mystery and speculation. It is a story of friendship, discipline, and the intersection of worlds that rarely meet. Through Chan Wai-man's revelations, we are offered a rare glimpse into history, a chance to see the life and death of a legend from the perspective of someone who truly knew him. And it is from this vantage point that we begin our journey, peeling back layers of myth to uncover the truth, revealing not just how Bruce Lee died, but but how he lived, trained, and fought in a world filled with extraordinary pressures and unimaginable danger. The deadly summer of 1973. The summer of 1973 began like any other, with Hong Kong streets sweltering under relentless heat, the humidity wrapping the city in a thick, suffocating blanket. But for Bruce Lee, July 20th would become a day that changed history forever. On that day, he moved through his routine with his characteristic energy, a man constantly in motion, always training, always working. Earlier that afternoon, Bruce had met with producer Raymond Chow to discuss the filming of Game of Death, the project that he had poured his heart into, determined to create a martial arts film unlike any before. Their discussion focused on choreography, casting, and the logistics of upcoming scenes, a meticulous process that left no detail to chance. Every punch, every kick, every camera angle was planned with precision, reflecting Bruce's relentless pursuit of excellence. After leaving the meeting, Bruce and Chow drove to the apartment of Taiwanese actress Betty Ting Pei, who was set to appear in the film. There, they discussed specific scenes, practiced movements, and refined the script. By 7:30 p.m., Bruce, ever conscious of his physical limits, complained of a headache. It was not the first time. 2 months prior, during filming and training, he had collapsed unexpectedly. The episode had sent him to the hospital, where doctors diagnosed him with cerebral edema, a dangerous swelling of the brain. He had recovered, but the experience left an indelible mark on his mind. Yet Bruce, always determined to push forward, had attributed the incident to overwork and stress. His training regimen was famously grueling. Bruce Lee was known for pushing his body beyond natural limits, a daily ritual of relentless physical and mental exertion. He ran miles at high intensity, practiced hours of complex martial arts forms, and engaged in strength training that left most athletes exhausted. On top of this, he was constantly working on film projects, attending press events, and managing his public image. The combination of extreme physical stress, high-pressure work, and Hong Kong's oppressive summer heat created conditions that were dangerously conducive to medical emergencies. Yet, even in the face of these risks, Bruce Lee remained focused, disciplined, and unwavering in his pursuit of martial arts perfection. On that fateful evening, Betty Ting Pei offered Bruce a painkiller called Equigesic, a combination of aspirin and the muscle relaxant aprovimate, intended to relieve tension and headaches. Bruce had taken the medication before without incident, trusting it as a temporary relief. He swallowed the pill, went to lie down in the bedroom, and expected to rest for a short while before dinner. But he never woke up. The tranquility of the apartment was shattered by the abrupt and inexplicable silence that followed. Despite immediate medical attention, Bruce Lee was pronounced dead at Queen Elizabeth Hospital. At 32 years old, the world had lost one of its most dynamic and promising martial artists. The official medical report stated that cerebral edema caused by a hypersensitivity reaction to the medication was the cause of death. The coroner ruled it a death by misadventure, a tragic, unforeseen accident. But the public, unwilling to accept such a simple explanation for a man who seemed invincible, reacted with disbelief. How could someone so physically fit, a paragon of health and strength, be felled by what appeared to be a routine headache? Questions proliferated, and within hours, conspiracy theories began to take root, fueled by the enigmatic circumstances surrounding his passing. The timing, the location, and the apparent randomness of his death all seemed suspicious. Bruce had died not in the comfort of his family home, but in Betty Ting Pei's apartment, a detail that, when initially concealed, only fueled further speculation. Rumors quickly circulated across Hong Kong, suggesting that powerful forces, including organized crime, might have played a role. The Triads, feared for their influence over the city's entertainment industry and known for enforcing their will through violence and intimidation, became central figures in these theories. Some whispered that Bruce had refused to cooperate with Triad Control Films, angering influential figures. Others suggested he had witnessed something dangerous or crossed lines that should never have been crossed. Even martial arts lore contributed to the growing speculation. Some theorists proposed that Bruce had violated ancient codes by teaching kung fu to Westerners, angering traditional masters who might have sought retribution. Others went further, invoking legends of the dim mak or death touch, a secret technique said to cause delayed death when applied correctly. Stories claim Bruce might have been struck weeks earlier, with the effects only manifesting in that tragic summer evening. Although no evidence supported such claims, they persisted, fueled by the public's inability to accept a mundane explanation for the loss of an extraordinary man. As these rumors swirled, Chan Wai-man, a high-ranking member of the 14K Triad and a personal friend of Bruce, found himself in a precarious position. People approached him with questions, seeking insight from someone who had first-hand knowledge of both Bruce's personal life and Hong Kong's criminal underworld. Some inquiries were subtle, others direct, but all carried the weight of suspicion. The world wanted answers, and Chan was one of the few who could provide them. Yet even he, steeped in a lifetime of discipline, loyalty, and secrecy, had to navigate the delicate balance between truth and discretion, aware that any word spoken could carry consequences far beyond the ordinary. The deadly summer of 1973 thus marked the intersection of brilliance, tragedy, and mystery. Bruce Lee's death was not simply a medical event. It became the catalyst for decades of speculation, a flashpoint for fears about organized crime, and a source of endless fascination for fans around the globe. The circumstances of that day would forever challenge the public to reconcile the man who seemed unstoppable with the fragility inherent in human life. The Triad murder theory. As news of Bruce Lee's death spread through Hong Kong, a city already buzzing with superstition, fear, and intrigue, whispers quickly turned into rumors, and rumors escalated into full-blown conspiracy theories. Among the most persistent and sensational of these was the idea that the Triads, the feared, powerful, and shadowy organized crime syndicates that controlled large swaths of Hong Kong's underworld, had orchestrated his death. To the average observer, the theory seemed plausible. The Triads were known for their influence over the film industry, their ruthless methods, and their ability to eliminate anyone who posed a threat to their power. Bruce Lee, a man whose fame and independence challenged traditional hierarchies, suddenly appeared as a potential target. The notion that the Triads could have been involved began almost immediately, fueled by both coincidence and the public's inability to rationalize the sudden loss of such a vibrant, physically invincible figure. Bruce's death occurred in Betty Ting Pei's apartment, not his family home, a fact initially misreported in newspapers. Early accounts attempted to frame the death as a simple collapse while walking with his wife, but the truth eventually surfaced. Bruce had passed away in the apartment of a friend, a detail that naturally raised suspicions. Why the cover-up? Why hide the location unless there was a secret to conceal? Adding to the speculation was Raymond Chow, Bruce's business partner and the head of Concord Productions. Many conspiracy theorists suggested Chow had a motive to eliminate Bruce. After all, Bruce's passing would grant Chow complete control over the company, allowing to profit immensely from the posthumous release of films. Such ideas were reinforced by Chow's rising prominence in the film industry immediately following Bruce's death. Though Chow's involvement has never been substantiated, the timing of events made the Triad murder theory compelling to many. At the center of the swirling speculation stood Chan Wai-man. As the number 2 leader of the 14K Triad and a man who knew Bruce personally, Chan occupied a precarious position. He had first-hand knowledge of both the criminal underworld and Bruce Lee's character, making him an ideal source to separate truth from fiction. People approached him constantly, some subtly insinuating the possibility of Triad involvement, others demanding answers as though he had orchestrated events himself. Despite the pressure, Chan remained silent, bound by the Triad's strict code of secrecy and the awareness that any statement could carry dangerous consequences. Rumors surrounding Triad involvement were compounded by Hong Kong's film industry structure. During the 1970s, the Triads exerted control over studios, distribution networks, and talent agencies. Directors like Lo Wei, who had worked with Bruce Lee on The Big Boss and Fist of Fury, were known to have connections with organized crime. Producers and studio heads frequently relied on the Triads for protection, financing, and enforcement of contracts. Refusing to cooperate could result in sabotage, career ruin, or worse. Bruce Lee, with his insistence on creative independence, represented a unique challenge. He defied expectations, insisting on control over his projects, scripts, and choreography. For an industry deeply intertwined with Triad influence, this defiance appeared almost audacious. The public imagination naturally seized upon the possibility that Bruce's independence might have angered powerful figures. Stories circulated that he had refused to participate in films under Triad control, that he had become a liability by witnessing events or secrets he shouldn't have, and that his teaching of martial arts to Westerners violated unspoken rules within traditional circles. Every rumor, every unexplained detail, seemed to reinforce the idea that his death was no accident. Even the legendary martial arts concept of dim mak, the so-called death touch capable of causing delayed fatal injury, was invoked, with some theorists claiming Bruce might have been struck weeks earlier, only to succumb later. Toxicology reports added further fodder for speculation. Marijuana traces discovered in Bruce's stomach during autopsy prompted some to suggest he might have been drugged or poisoned. While scientific analysis revealed no lethal substances, conspiracy theorists questioned the reliability of these findings, claiming possible cover-ups and hidden motives. In a climate where information was scarce, rumors flourished, taking on a life of their own. The Triad murder theory reached its peak because of the very nature of Hong Kong's organized crime system. The 14K Triad, along with other gangs, had long-standing influence over legitimate business, nightlife, and cinema. Rumors were believable because the Triads were capable of extreme violence and intimidation. They had the resources to control actors, directors, and even entire productions. They had the knowledge to plan and execute discrete operations if they wished. And for the public, the idea that Bruce Lee, a man admired, feared, and celebrated, might have been eliminated by such shadowy forces was both terrifying and compelling. Yet Chan Wai-man, positioned within this web of speculation, offers a perspective few could. As someone who had risen to the second highest rank in the 14K Triad, he knew the organization from the inside. He understood its operational strategies, the risks it took, and the factors that guided its decision-making. Chan later revealed that the Triads would never have targeted Bruce Lee. The consequences would have been unpredictable, catastrophic, and universally condemned. Bruce's popularity, his martial arts mastery, and the respect he commanded, even among criminals, created a protective shield no threat could penetrate. Violence against him would not have gone unnoticed. It would have triggered social outrage, media scrutiny, and governmental intervention, consequences the Triads were unwilling to risk. Despite the sensationalism surrounding the Triads, Chan's silence for decades reflected both wisdom and loyalty. He knew the stories being told were largely false, but he also understood that revealing the truth prematurely could be dangerous, not just for him, but for his family and associates. The public, unaware of this nuance, filled the void with conjecture, conspiracy, and myth. And yet, the Triad murder theory, compelling as it seemed, was ultimately just that, a theory. The narrative that Bruce Lee's death was a result of organized crime, while intriguing, had no factual basis. It was born from fear, coincidence, and a human desire to find hidden explanations for tragedy. In reality, the truth was far more human and far less conspiratorial. Bruce Lee, extraordinary though he was, remained subject to the vulnerabilities of the human body. His sudden death was a convergence of intense physical stress, hypersensitivity to medication, and medical conditions exacerbated by a lifetime of pushing his body beyond natural limits. Yet the public, captivated by danger and intrigue, continued to weave stories of assassination and shadowy machinations, unaware that the real explanation required no secret cabals, only an understanding of mortality, human frailty, and the extraordinary pressures Bruce Lee imposed upon himself. Chan Wai-man's life and rise in the Triads. Chan Wai-man's story begins far from the glamorous lights of Hong Kong cinema, or the martial arts dojos where legends are born. He was raised in the rough neighborhoods of Hong Kong's new territories, a place where survival often depended more on instinct, strength, and cunning than on formal education. While most children his age attended school, Chan was learning a different kind of curriculum, the hard, unforgiving education of the streets. In these early years, his playground was a maze of alleyways, abandoned warehouses, and crowded marketplaces. And his teachers were the older boys who ruled these spaces through intimidation and skill. From a young age, Chan displayed an uncanny aptitude for martial arts. Northern Shaolin Kung Fu became his foundation, shaping not only his body but his mind. Discipline, precision, and the philosophy behind each movement became integral to his understanding of life. By the age of 10, his fists were more than just tools. They were instruments of expression, survival, and respect. Every punch, every block, every kick was an unspoken lesson in resilience. Chan's environment demanded toughness, and martial arts gave him a way to assert himself in a world that often offered no mercy. By the time Chan reached 17, the streets of Hong Kong were no longer enough to satisfy his ambition. The teenage years, a time when many seek identity and purpose, became a turning point in Chan's life. He faced a choice that would define his trajectory: continue as a street fighter scraping by, or align himself with a powerful organization that could provide structure, wealth, and influence. The answer was the 14K Triad, one of the most notorious and well-organized criminal syndicates in Hong Kong's history. The 14K was no ordinary gang. It had its roots in political conflict, and by the 1970s, it had evolved into a multinational empire controlling illegal operations across Southeast Asia. For Chan, joining the Triad was not just about crime. It was an avenue for personal development, power, and legitimacy in a violent world. Chan's rise through the ranks of the 14K was rapid. Unlike other street thugs who relied solely on brute force or intimidation, Chan combined his martial arts mastery with strategic thinking and loyalty to the organization. He was not merely a fighter, he was a tactician. By observing patterns in human behavior, understanding the internal dynamics of the Triad, and mastering the art of influence, he distinguished himself from peers. His dedication to martial arts remained unwavering. Even while enforcing Triad operations, extorting money, overseeing illegal gambling, or collecting protection fees, he trained relentlessly. Muay Thai, boxing, Southern Chinese Kung Fu all became tools in his arsenal. His fists became legendary in the streets of Hong Kong, earning him the reputation of having the fastest punches in the city. Bruce Lee was more than a martial arts legend. He was a symbol of dedication, discipline, and the pursuit of excellence. His friendship with Chan Wai-man reminds us that respect and honor can bridge even the widest divides. While myths and conspiracies may surround his life and death, the truth shows us that greatness comes not from luck, but from relentless effort and integrity. Let his story inspire you to push your limits, follow your passion, and leave your own legacy in the world.